Related Design was a German developer found in 1995, and the first full-price game they released was America No Peace Beyond the Line in 2000 via publisher Data Becker. This was some kind of okayish age-inspired game situated in the West with cowboys, Indians and desperados, but with less comfort functions and much slower than Age of Empires 2 that came out 1 year prior. 2001, German publisher CDV announced America 2, developed by the original developer Related Design, but the former publisher went to court for they wanted to produce their own America 2, and so CDV had to change the title to No Man's Land, and it came out in 2003. A sequel to America by Data Becker never saw the light of day. Related Design later was acquired by Ubisoft, where they firm under Ubisoft Minds today. But after all, was No Man's Land any good? You can choose from 6 playable factions: the English, Spaniards, American Patriots, American Settler, Woodland Native Americans and Prairie Native Americans. And there are 3 campaigns to follow.
Thank you, but I know.
The rest looks very common, although today with the new monitors some icons are hard to recognize and to read. Basically, you build up your economy, cut wood, get gold in mines or harvest fields that are not free to build but have a given place. So there's no stone and the fields can run empty. And then you realize that you, for example, have an idle worker key, but the screen does not jump to the worker. So finding a nearby worker for a build is unnecessarily tiresome, cause you first have to figure out where your idle worker is exactly. Of course, you have to care for your military as well. There are towers or forts to protect your village, and the well-known mixture of cavalry, cannons, melee units, bow or riflemen, and heroes or characters with certain abilities, like a sharpshoot or improvement of the fighters nearby. You can upgrade their skills as well as those of your workers, although the depth of the upgrade system is not very deep. And you have male workers and female. The female cost less and are better in harvesting, the male cost more and can defend themselves better. In the end, it doesn't really matter, so leaving only one choice would have been maybe easier and in a way a better solution to not irritate the player with decisions that are not fundamental and take away the concentration. I only build women, they simply cost less food. One good thing, on the other hand, is that you can queue production chains, even if you do not have all the resources for it. So you can click on everything you want to buy, and then you simply wait. But how to get there to know the game is by trying out, cause the tutorial missions are not only boring, like walk here and go there, but also do not tell you really important information, like that you can switch your troops to offensive, or else they will get slaughtered, how healing works, or the market, or even more important, because this is the dullest thing in the game, and on the other hand, a really unique point, how to build your fort. You can only build forts by dragging a rectangle from one point. No single walls or palisades, everything all at once, rectangular. And if there's a tree somewhere or a house, then you have to start again with the building choice. And again. Almost never really covering all spaces of the passage you want to protect, and so this is not very useful and complicated as well, cause you besides that also have only towers but no single walls. The lasso tool does not work over a certain number of people and fights are very convoluted, making it hard to see what exactly is going on in a melee combat. And charging full force on one enemy or a building does not work as well, cause your troops will go and fight someone else, even in a small combat situation with only 2 or 3 men.
That should be enough to finish them off.
There is a long list of keyboard shortcuts, but no option to skip the long and uninteresting cutscenes. Unfortunately, someone thought it is a good idea to include a ton of dialogue into a real-time strategy game, and that goes on forever. Just to say in the end, go there and fight the enemy. And every mission starts and ends at least with one scene. The ending being, well, now you've done it, let's see how it goes on. And in between there are maybe 2 or more, each lasting from at least 30 seconds to some minutes. And when you have to restart, you have to watch even the first one again. So, you better save very often. As well, because the mission design is standard, but feels not very inspired. A lot of times you have to make sure a certain character survives, causing either to start over again with autosaves that work only on key moments and not based on playtime, saving very often that he doesn't get killed in combat because he is running for the enemy troops, or the only real solution, hiding that character in the town hall, making it just an unnecessary guy to park somewhere. The rest of the mission is mostly either an escort mission with small troops, or, more commonly, build up a town and attack the enemy in the end. And that can be okay, even if it repeats over and over. But you never have a real flow in the game, or they let you lose. Just like finishing a mission without getting the satisfaction of throwing the enemy back in the sea in the end of it. You do the whole work to get there, even in the final mission of a chapter, but when the fun part comes, it simply ends, cause your work is done.
His Majesty will be most pleased by this news.
The reason you don't get into a good flow is not only the unskippable cutscenes, but as well the general pacing that is very slow, like how the units move, the time it takes to recruit someone or to produce something, the micromanagement, everything here needs more time to do, and adding up, the tempo is really much more relaxed than it would be in Age. Especially naval warfare or just moving your ships feels very, very slow. Not to say that the missions are easy, only to say that they take way longer and have action, less fights, less adrenaline in it, but they are not really easy, but also not challenging either, except for the occasional death of an overly aggressive guy you had to keep alive during your mission.
No fear.
No Man's Land is a real-time strategy game in the midst of Age of Empires that would have needed more time to develop. For quality control, better mission design, beta testing, and a lot more polishing in the end to stand out. The factions don't differ very much, and the once unique setting that was some kind of selling point was taken over by Age 3 that came out in 2005. So, does the game stand out? Well, no, neither 2003 nor today. It was a nice filler game, if you like real-time strategy games, and wait for the next big one to drop, and basically that's what it is today. Don't expect high adrenaline, it's more for the settle, wait and attack type of player who wants something to play along while maybe listening to something else. And because of the slow pacing, this can be done with No Man's Land. So, playing it today still can be fun, but only for a limited time, like before, for it is, and has never been, more than a filler in between.
Sí, oremos.
¿Sí?